This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. Back in studio for another week of exciting shows. Kick things off. I actually had like a jet lag day on Monday after the return trip from Japan. Like I said, we'll get into that more next week. I talked a little bit at the end of the show, but then yesterday, Mark Zona, kind enough to join BTL Live to talk a little bit about his Bass Fishing Hall of Fame induction that went down last month in September. And then we wrap things up with a little Bassmaster Opens EQ talk heading into the final Bassmaster Opens EQ of the season, which kicks off tomorrow on Lake Martin in Alabama. Originally scheduled for Lake Hartwell, moved to Lake Martin due to Helene, the hurricane that did a lot of damage in the Carolinas. And then obviously, first off, thoughts and prayers for all those that are working on recovering and getting through that. And then with what's coming to the coast of Florida there, if there's one thing that I know, it's that the bass fishing family takes care of their own, and there's a lot of bass fishermen in Florida, a lot of anglers in Florida. So in the coming days, weeks, I'm sure social media, the internet, there will be a lot of help from around the country for whatever happens to those in Florida. So thoughts and prayers with them. But so the only difference, back to the Bassmaster Opens EQ, is that instead of catching medium to large size spotted bass with the occasional big largemouth, I think the Lake Martin thing is just going to be small to medium spotted bass with fewer largemouth. So interesting to see as it battles it out. A couple big names right there on the bubble to qualify. I think the top 5-6 guys are pretty locked in, but the top 9 guys, they get a ticket. They get a golden ticket, a card. Their tickets are punched to fame and riches and glory and prestige and the piles of cash that come with a Bassmaster Elite Series qualification. Isn't that right? Today's guest, Jacob Foutz.
Yeah, buddy, all piles of cash. They're going to be living large, no doubt. No, it's definitely definitely going to be an experience for everyone, and everyone will get to accomplish a lifelong dream and qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's all good.
Thanks for jumping on BTL. I think this is the first time I've had you on BTL since I've taken over the show 3 years ago now. And dude, what has the last year been like? I was literally driving. So I'm kind of jet lagged. I was supposed to be at this open. I canceled it. I made the Bass Nation Championship, but I hadn't done any live shows for 2 weeks. So Grand Lake goes off limits in like a day and a half or 2 days. Goes off limits on Saturday. So Friday's the last day I can fish for this Bass Nation Championship that's in November. So I couldn't do recorded shows. So I'm doing live shows. Then I'm driving 2.5 hours to the lake, graphing until dark, then driving back and doing shows every morning, jet lagged. And I'm driving yesterday and I'm like, dude, I have not seen like a show or a podcast with Jacob Foutz. You were on every single show and podcast last year when the video dropped about the sponsor. So I texted you and I called you and I was like, hey dude, like when, and you're like, yeah, no, I haven't done one. So I was like, dude, this would be great to catch up a year later, especially after the career year that you had. What's the last 12 months been like?
Oh boy. I guess a roller coaster would be the best way to describe it. I went from I wouldn't say the lowest of lows, but I guess I created a bunch of controversy in the fishing industry last fall, and was kind of the talk of the entire sport for several weeks, and everyone and their brother wanted to talk to me, and um, then I went out and had a really good year, and made the cut in all 9 events, almost won Angler of the Year. Just had a banner year, really. So it's been a roller coaster. It's been high for like the last 11 months, pretty much. I've just enjoyed fishing and catching bass and proving a lot of people wrong and quieting a lot of critics.
So that's what I want to do today. I want to talk about the last 11 months. I'm going to do a 30-minute catch up for those that haven't been following what happened this past year. Okay, here is a screen share of Jacob Foutz fishing, the YouTube channel. He had like less than 1,000 followers. You look at 3 years ago, 862 views. New season starts a year ago, 622 views. You do a boat walkthrough, and then you post the 2 videos. What the pros don't tell you about the fishing industry, and I got fired for telling the truth. 75,000 plus views on both of those, and I'm not kidding. There were some people in the industry, because I'm in the industry, that thought, dude, this is a brilliant move. There were some in the industry that said, this kid's committing career suicide. No one's going to touch him with a 10-foot pole. And in my opinion, there's really only one way to either to prove both of those sides right, and that's to go out and catch him. And is it after this past year, you mentioned it, $143,000 in earnings, 2 top 10s, 6 top 30s. You had 6 in the previous 2 seasons on the Elite Series, top 50 in every single Elite, qualified for your second Classic, 4th in the Angler of the Year. I've always said this on the show. There's a lot of stuff on the side here, but when it comes down to it, catching bass takes care of a lot, even in this age of social media. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would. Catching bass will solve all your problems. Making 50 cuts solves all your problems. It's it helps a lot when you're able to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. When you can combine and do both, it makes life a whole lot easier. That's for sure.
Talk about the off season. You're not super comfortable talking when you get quite great personality and stuff, but I mean, you're kind of a quiet guy, a little bit reserved. You had the Paperboy image that was kind of well documented from the 2017 bracket challenge, but you were thrust into this limelight. That happened in the off season, and then boom, the 2024 season started. Did you feel any pressure going into the year? Like, man, I got to catch fish this year, not only to stay on the Elite Series and financial, but for all of the social media and stuff, because there were a lot of eyeballs on you going into that first couple tournaments.
Yeah, no doubt. I felt more pressure going into this year than I have for anything in my life, probably. When I made the videos, I didn't think that it would get the attention that it did. I didn't think that they would both, get over 60 or 75,000 views and set the fishing world on fire and be a topic of conversation like it was, good, bad, or indifferent. But after that happened, the pressure kind of ramped up, and it's like, well, geez, everyone had these strong opinions one way or the other. So now the optics on this are going to look really, really bad if I don't catch them this year. And like I said, going into the season, I've never felt as much pressure as I did. And but for me, I've always performed my very best when the pressure's been the very highest on myself. I've said that over and over. I enjoy it. That's why you get to do it. Pressure is a privilege. I'll say that over and over. It's if there's that much pressure on you, you've put yourself in a good spot. So I enjoy it. I like to take advantage of that opportunity, and it's always harnessed good things for me when I've had a bunch of pressure on myself.
When did you realize you were having a special year?
Probably after Smith Lake, I guess. Up until that point, I was just fishing. I hadn't paid too much attention to Angler of the Year or anything like that. I was just trying to I was just fishing, having a good time, and then after Smith, I was like third or fourth in the points, and I, it was only like 60 points back, which generally is a pretty big mountain to climb. But going up north, there's always seems like there's always a flip flop in the points, and it just it felt good to know you had a chance, and I knew going up north, that's my favorite way to fish, and smallmouth have always been good to me, and I knew it gave me a chance, and it was kind of then that I realized, okay, I'm having a banner year here, and two more really good tournaments will give me a really good chance.
And you had two good tournaments, and you went up, you top 10 at Champlain, you finished 35th at Waddington. I mean, you did everything that you needed to do. It's just that other guys also did what they needed to do to stay at the top. That was kind of a crazy race going into that final event at Waddington, with a lot of decisions to make between the lake, between the river. You had guys that you knew were going to catch them at the top. Was that exciting going into the final event of the year, knowing, damn, I got a legit shot at, having, was it less than $8,000 in sponsorship going into the ending the previous year, coming off of a 68th place in the Angler of the Year finish, and like 4 good days and a couple of the dominoes fall my way, and I'm lifting a pretty dang big trophy over my head.
Yeah, man, it was almost surreal a little bit just to be that close, and I knew going into that one that I was going to be. It was always going to be an uphill battle with where I was, just going into the St. Lawrence River. Chris ended up winning. I knew he was ahead of me in the points going into that one. I knew he would be hard to beat. It seems like him and Corey both are always in the top 10 in that event. Yeah, so I knew going into that one, it felt like I had the top 10 that one, and I put all my eggs in the leg basket, because I felt like that was my only chance at possibly overcoming that little hurdle there with the Johnstons, and worked out good for 2 days. Like I said, I grabbed the lead in AOY after the first day to St. Lawrence, held it after the second day, and then the third day, weather kind of messed me up. I didn't get to go out in the lake. I was going as far out as anyone out there, probably. I was going probably 25 miles out into the lake. It was taking me 2 hours to get out to where I was. It was taking me, like 2 hours, 15 minutes, depending on how bad it was to get out there. But that third day would have taken me probably 3.5 hours to get there, and I'd have had 30 minutes to fish, and I wasn't catching them that quick. So, that's the way it goes. It wouldn't, even if I had caught them that third day, it wouldn't have mattered, because Chris caught 29 something pounds and moved into the top 10. And if he finished it, excuse me, if we both finished in the top 10, there was no way for me to catch him, because I think I was like 14 points back coming into the St. Lawrence. So I did all I could do, man. I'm not upset with it. I think I had all season. I had 3 days I look back on and wish I would have caught a little more. And that was the first day at the Harris Chain, the second day at Murray, and the third day at the St. Lawrence. But other than that, every other day was a good day, and that's what you got to have. You can't to give yourself a chance. You have to have all good days for the most part during the season, and that's what I did, and was a banner year, man. No complaints. Obviously, just slightly disappointed with how it ended, but I'm not. You can't complain a bit. Anytime you finish top 5 in AOY, it's you should be proud of it, because these boys are good and they always catch them.
What do you credit the turnaround to? Surely it couldn't have just been the pressure of, man, there's a lot of that I've put a spotlight on me. Like, was there a technique change? Was there a mentality change? What was the what can you look back now on as you prepare for the 25 season and say, this is what put me in contention with the best in the business?
I think it's just a mentality thing as much as anything, because I started catching them late the last 3 events of 2023. I had 2 top 10s and another top 50, and that saved my career on the Elite Series. circling back to 2023, going into the last three events, I was like 90 something in points.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to have three really, really good tournaments to end the season. And I finished sixth at St. Clair, eighth at Champlain, and we're at like 41st at the St. Lawrence.
St.
Maybe
Lawrence. Oh, yeah.
year.
Dude. So 2038. Yeah, that was 50K in the last three. And you were rolling off of 100th at the Sabine, a 72nd at Lay, a 72nd at Santee. And I'm sure those 2,500 bumps at the time are nice to kind of stem the bleeding, but it's really what they're doing is they're giving you back half of your entry fee, so you're still down 6K on each one of those tournaments.
You're still losing a significant amount of money. So and up until that point last year, I had missed 8 cuts in a row and was on my way out the door. And after this season and the 3 events last year, looking back on that, honestly, I'm not glad it happened, but I'm thankful I went through that that I was able to learn a lot about myself and my ability to overcome. And, now mentally, I don't feel like I get nearly as rattled as I did before. And I don't put too much value in practice anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I just mentally, I always feel like I'm going to catch them. And that's how it went this year. That's not how it'll always go. It's, fishing's highs and lows, but I think just mentally I'm completely different. I just never rattled, always just kind of roll with whatever happens. That, don't let a lost fish get to me. Like I said, if I have a good practice, great. If I don't, that's great too. I'll figure it out somehow. It's fishing, man. It is what it is. I'm going to go out there and have a good time and do all I can do to put myself in a good position.
All right, you're going to walk me through this. So I was talking to another very successful angler in professional fishing, and I was just kind of picking his brain about stuff completely off air. And he's like, dude, he goes, it's 100% between the ears. And we've heard all that. And I said, okay, let's do a show on that. And he goes, hell no. That was his exact quote. He said, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. And it was because he felt that gave him the edge, that was what gave him the edge, was his mental toughness and how he worked on it. In your opinion, I mean, I fish a lot of opens. I've had ups and downs. I consider myself a very solid angler. But, dude, I get rattled. There's times where I get rattled. There's times where I know, and I'm not saying like a spin out or a meltdown or anything, but it's that little thing in my head that's like, damn, I'm not going to get another bite today. And it's something that you fight, or you, instead of just making the move, you're like, well, maybe I can grind it out here, but I should go over there, but I'm going to stay here. It's that mental. So talk about what you've done, if you're willing. Like, it's easy to say, it's harder to do. What is it that allowed you to kind of to click that? And when you dumped a big one, went, that's okay. Or when you had a crappy practice, you went, that's okay. And were able to overcome those mental hurdles.
Yeah, no, like you were saying, it's 100% between the ears. It's when you get into the opens, the Elite Series, everyone's good at that point. So it's 100% between your ears. And, for me, it's just confidence in yourself. I've gotten to a point where I feel like I'm one of the very best in the world. I don't say that to be, I don't want to sound cocky when I say that, but like I feel like I'm one of the best in the world, and I want to prove that to people. And I have the utmost confidence in my abilities, and I don't, when you say you lose a big fish, it's okay to be upset, but put it behind you quickly and just I try to evaluate, okay, I got that fish to bite. I can get another one to bite. There's, it's, you did something right to get that fish to bite. So you can't control that a fish came off, or you can't control the weather or anything like that. You just gotta roll with whatever happens and have, it's just, like I said, it's just confidence in yourself. Is
that time on the water? Is the best way to build confidence in yourself time on the water?
Yes and no. There's part of it that is on the water, and there's a part of it that you just have to you just have to believe in yourself and feel like, hey, I'm a dog, man. You know, I belong out here. You know,
Yeah.
I'm one of the best in the world, and I'm coming for these boys. I'm coming for the neck. That's the mentality that I've kind of had the last 12 events, really. That I'm out for blood. I'm coming. I want to win. I want to put myself in that position. I want to be in contention, and you know, you got to have the confidence in yourself to do that, and you can't be second guessing what you're thinking, and just flow, just go do it.
I like that. All right, we're going to take our first break of the show. When we come back, more with fourth place in the 2024 Angler of the Year race and $143,000. I mean, just pure earnings, just $143,000 straight into the bank account. No, I'm just kidding on that. Well, we'll talk a little bit about that. I also want to get into some baits, some techniques that you used this year. And then I also want to touch on guiding, because I know you still do a lot of guiding, and I feel like maybe some of the comments you made last year, I do a show called Guide Day and Day 5 where I talk about different guides and opportunities. Maybe, and I haven't talked to you about this, where we're taking a little bit out of context. And I want to give you a chance to respond to that. So it is BTL on a Wednesday, October 9th with Jacob Foutz, and we'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
This is Gamakatsu's new Nano Alpha line of hooks. If it looks familiar, that's because they are. It's the same shapes and sizes in the round bend and the EWG and in the new Horizon head that you know and love from Gamakatsu, but there are a couple new features with this Nano Alpha, which is this little green label that you see on the packaging. First off, 2 times faster hook penetration. That's because of the Nano Alpha smooth coating on it, and also it is 4 times more corrosion resistant. Check it out, Nano Alpha.
I've been using Sunline Shooter for the majority of my career. Millions of dollars made, lots of bass caught, and the gnarly, gnarly stuff. If you need a abrasion resistant, tough fishing line for the really, really mean stuff, Sunline Shooter is for you.
Beatdown is efficient, rock solid.
100% American made.
This thing is super tough. I mean, this thing is not going anywhere.
I've ran the Beatdown double stack from Florida all the way up to New York. And the one thing that I know is when I get to my fishing destination, I never have to worry about issues with my graph mount.
Your options are endless with these mounts, but they're steady, they're solid. These are the most reliable mounts on the market, and you can't go wrong with the Beatdown.
When you're ready to hit the water, Denali Fishing has you covered. Regardless of your skill level, from beginner all the way up to tournament pro, Denali has rods, reels, and tungsten to get the job done. Check them out at denalifishing.com.
All right, welcome back, BTL on a Wednesday. Elite Series Pro Jacob Foutz. Is it crazy to you that you're going into your 4th Elite Series season already? Like, does it fly by, or does it seem like you're a grizzled veteran?
Yeah, it's flown by. I feel like I just got started, but also at the same time, I feel like I've been doing it forever too. It's kind of crazy that it's going to be year 4 already.
A lot of talk in the off season good for podcasts, good for shows. I don't know how good it is to focus on it in the industry like we have hyper focused on it. You got one. We got the MPFL with no scope, the MLF with multi scope, the Elite Series with scope. I don't have any desire to really get into that. But my question is, in 2024, what were some of the tactics, techniques that kind of carried you through the entire season? Were there any overall arching themes looking back on the 8 events?
I think you're going to know where I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah.
Take a wild guess, Matt. Take a wild guess.
I mean, are you a minnow guy?
I am a big minnow guy, buddy. It's my favorite way to catch one.
How long have you been on the minnow train?
I've been on the minnow train since 2021, really.
Okay, how did you get on the minnow train? Like, do you remember the first
scope?
time you went, my God, this is amazing?
Yeah, it was probably winter of 22, honestly, when I kind of realized how powerful it was. We got several highland lakes around that are like full of big smallmouth, and they actually have all 3 species, and they're all big. And I got to thinking, I'm like, I wonder if you just threw this on a jig head at them and fished it almost like a swim bait, if they would bite it. And sure enough, they did. I was like, oh my gosh, they'd bite it like they'd never seen it before, which they hadn't ever seen it before, and they have continued to bite it like they've never seen it before.
So do you feel like in 2023 and 2022, maybe you didn't utilize that and understand the power of it as much as you should have? Or did it just not set up? Yeah. And it just so happened that 24 was like a schedule that's set up for that?
I hadn't quite grasped how powerful that tool was yet. I was 22 my rookie year. I was having a good year up until the last 2 events. Mm-hmm. And then I think I went dead last in the last 2 and fell out of the top 20 in points and missed a classic. But even then, I looking back, I can think of a lot of situations where I'm like, boy, that would have caught him, like Pickwick or St. Lawrence that year. There's a lot of looking back. And then last year, I just felt like it didn't really, early in the year, it didn't set up great for it. I didn't feel like being down in Florida and then South Carolina and then the Sabine, obviously. But yeah, I spent a lot of time with it this past winter and really kind of felt like I dialed it in pretty good. And then this year, the schedule just set up really well for it.
Can I go on a little bit of a minnow rig, Jacob? Are you okay if I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's my rant on the minnow. I don't think this is going to go where you think it's going to go right now. So I turned 40 this year, right? And I realized that there's like Elite Series pros now that I could be their dad, even though I still feel like I'm like 21 years old. But I'm sponsored by the Bass Tank, so I have the ability to get to work with a new technology. And there's some of these kids that are out there been listening to PTL since literally they were like 12 years old. So I'm talking to them, and it occurs to me, I'm like, dude, I was like, I am in a position where I could totally reinvent myself. I'm a dink and dunk. I love the spinning rod, drop shot, Nico, chicken rig. Like, that's been my jam. Like, I've almost made the Elite Series a couple times on 12.5 pounds a day. And now that's not any good. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to learn this. Here's what I've learned. There are times, yes, where you cast the damn thing to it and they commit suicide on it. That's just a matter of fact. You could duct tape a spinning rod with a minnow in the hand of a trained monkey and he could catch 4-pounders. There are times when that happens. I mean, there's also times where you could chuck a top water across a point, and as soon as it hits the water, a freaking 4-pounder blasts it too. Same thing. The nuances, the skill, the technicalities, and the understanding of actual minnow fishing at an elite level across the country under different circumstances, the casting, the angles, the engaging fish in rock, in structure, suspended fish, fish on baits, minnow size, percent of fish that commit, drastically underrated. And I think it's been a disservice to a lot of the anglers that are hanging their hat on the minnow, that they're being discounted because they're saying, oh, they're just throwing a minnow on the fish. And the people who are saying that have not spent hundreds of hours in the boat to understand the nuances of it. And in my opinion, it is no different than flipping a jig, and why you do not want to go behind Greg Hackney flipping bushes with a hack attack jig, or you do not want to go behind Andy Montgomery skipping a white jig, a swim jig around docks, because that is a skill. And right now it is drastically underappreciated.
It's that's a path that I could go down and talk about for hours. The people that say it takes no skill to do this are absolutely ignorant, and they should not be fishing if they think that, in my opinion. They don't know what they're talking about. It's completely, I think it's very disrespectful to try to discredit the guys that have spent the time to learn it and have become efficient and really, really good at it. And like you're saying, it is no different than Greg Hackney being the best at flipping a jig, or Keith Combs being the best at deep cranking, or so on and so forth. All these guys that have spent hours and hours and hours perfecting and becoming really good at one technique. It's no different for the guy that's using a minnow and live scope, and it's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing it and learning all the nuances and learning how to make the fish react. And it's no different. It's completely ludicrous, some of the things I hear people saying. It honestly infuriates me at times. I have to stay away from social media because I just want to bash people in the head for some of the stuff they say about it, honestly. Because it's not as easy. It's not as easy as these guys make it look. That is no doubt 100%. I've seen it day in and day out guiding that. It's these guys make it look really easy, and I've seen a lot of people make it look really hard.
I will also say this, though: the fact that we are looking at casting to a fish a high percentage of the time and watching how the fish reacts, I don't think you can argue that it does cut down the learning curve. It makes you more efficient. So you're saying, well, how these kids? It's the efficiency. So trust me, if Keith Combs on a rock pile on Toledo Bend or Falcon Lake or Conroe could see exactly how that bass was reacting to the 6XD and chartreuse powder blue back every time it deflects off the bottom, yeah, he probably would have gotten a lot better, a lot faster at it. If Greg Hackney was looking in the bush to see when that jig is falling through, how that fish is reacting, where it's actually sitting in the bush, yeah, it wouldn't have taken years and years and years. But to me, that was well said. And here's my other thing, and then we'll put a cap on this rant. It should look easy. You're on the freaking Elite Series. Do you know how easy it looks when a guy hits like when Bryce Harper, it's a 450-foot home run? It should look easy. Your cast should be on target. You should be around fish that are committing. You should be able to put a bait in front of a fish. You're supposed to be the best in the world at it.
Exactly. These guys are no joke, and they are going to make it look easy. It's not, like you're saying, it's no different than a pro athlete. Like you're saying, it's no different than Patrick Mahomes making quarterback look easy in the NFL, or Connor McDavid making hockey look easy in the NHL, or so forth and so forth.
Reference.
These guys are the highest. Oh, buddy, I love hockey.
Really?
These, like you're saying, these guys. Oh, dude, that's my favorite sport in the world. Yeah.
Okay, continue that thought. Then we'll have to go back to the hockey because I was unaware of that.
Like you're saying, it's no different. These guys are the highest in the world, the highest fishing at the highest level in the world, and they should make it look easy, and they do make it look easy, even though it is 100% not.
How long have you been? Are you like a lifelong hockey fan?
Oh, buddy, yeah, I'm diehard.
Did you play?
No, I played a little bit, but nothing super competitive.
How'd you get into hockey?
I grew up like an hour and 15 minutes from Pittsburgh, and I grew up a big Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
Oh, you grew up like in the Crosby era. See, I grew up in like the Yager, Lemieux, Ron Francis, Tom Barrasso. Like that's my era of Penguins hockey. So your era is the Malkin and Crosby era.
Malkin, Crosby, Letang, that's my era. Still my era.
Are you
tonight too? I'm excited.
I watched the Utah Hockey Club beat the Blackhawks last night on their opening night. Are you upset that Pittsburgh traded Fleury like 5-6 years ago? No, that was a good move.
I mean, looking back at it now, yeah, because we've had questionable goaltending since then. But at that time with Matt Murray in the expansion draft with Vegas that year, you had to protect Murray over Fleury because Murray was 21 years old at the time and had just won you back-to-back Stanley Cups. So you can.
How often you get to go to a game?
Usually I go to opening night, but I'm actually headed to North Dakota on Friday to go duck hunting, so I skipped out on opening night this week. But I try to go to a couple a year if I can.
When you won the bracket, that was back when, I think Dynamic did the boat and truck and all that, and Guck, Alan McGuckin, I'm sure you guys have had chats about the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's from that neck of the woods, big Penguins.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we've had lots of chats about the Penguins.
Mentioning that, I'm gonna pull this up. One of the last things I wanted to mention. All right, there it is. The paper boy, Lake Hartwell, the college Brett. Look at that. That was before the dude.
Wait, look how young I look. Look at that.
I know. Well,
that's
now
almost scary.
You have the thick, full beard going in. I'm very jealous. I can go a month and people can't even. They're like, "Oh, are you growing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm 2 months in." Bassmaster just had. Look at that. Yeah, you had absolutely no clue what you're in for there. Bassmaster just had the bracket challenge, and Dylan Atkins. I watched some of that bracket go down. I think they were on FS1 on that, and I watched the rest of the live. You made it, the tiers, the cash in the opens and in the Bassmaster Classic. You look back at the list, starting with the first bracket challenge and Andrew Upshaw, and you go through that list, and dude, that list is, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of like Heisman Trophy winners. Like, there's been a couple that haven't really panned out, but man, you get this path and you get these opportunities, there's still like 80% of the guys that are on at a very high level at the Elite Series, at the BPT level. You have Angler of the Years, you have Bassmaster Classic champions that all started like this. Go back to 2017, talk about the lessons you've learned and any advice that you would give to Dylan Atkins as he embarks on what probably is one of the most memorable years of his life.
Yeah, man, it's a whirlwind for sure. It took me aback. I wasn't really something I ever expected to win, and it all happened so fast. And dream come true. Obviously, to get qualified for the Classic. It's a whirlwind. I learned so much that year fishing the opens and fishing in the Classic. I felt like I grew exponentially as an angler, just being given that opportunity to go fish the opens at such a young age. And it kind of ruined me college fishing wise, because I wanted to get back in the opens because I felt like I learned so much. But I think the biggest piece of advice I could give him was just, just take it all in and learn as much as you can, man. Go make the connections and throughout the year in the industry, and go take advantage of the opportunity in the opens, and go prove to these guys that you can catch them, and to really take in the classic, man. That's I can't say enough good things about the classic and getting to fish in that, and all the opportunities and experiences you get to have because of that, and just make sure you take it all in and appreciate it for what it is, because it's the best thing in the world. That's for sure.
Well said. I do want to give you an opportunity before we close things out here. Any sponsors that are notable on your resume that stepped up in 2024 that you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, man, I got several that really helped me out this year. Miller Tech lithium batteries, they were kind of my biggest supporter, my biggest backer. They were the first company to reach out to me after the video. Actually, I had signed with them before the video, and they were the first ones to reach out after, and gave me their support and let me know that they were there for me, and appreciate all them. Another company that a good friend of mine in Texas has, Texas Smokies, they call it. It's a smoker, a cooker, grill. It's a combo of things. He helped me out this year a lot and made it possible. Really took some weight off my shoulders. Who else?
Is that it right there?
A lot of people.
Is that it?
That's it right there.
Dude, finally. So Lucas used to have a Traeger deal, and there was a little bit of a grill war. I think McClellan went charcoal. I think Bertrand had a deal, but I feel like one of the most underutilized spaces in professional bass fishing is the grill/smoker game.
Yeah, this is just a charcoal grill/smoker. I took it with me everywhere I went this year. It fits right in the back of the truck. Yeah, it's made it easy on the road for us, having coming in late, just fire that thing up, throw some chicken or steaks or whatever on the grill after a long day, and yeah, that thing's awesome.
Heck yeah, I will have to check that out. I did not realize I gotta give a shout out to Bassmaster. So like, if you did you know that like all the direct links to your sponsors are on your profile?
I did not know that.
I did not. So like if you go to Bassmaster and then you scroll down, like that's how I just want to show people, like I had no idea. It's not like we had a Texas Smoky setup. Boom. You click on that right there. It goes straight to the website. That's a nice touch. That's a very nice touch.
Actually, I didn't know that.
No. Hats off to Bassmaster for whoever did that. So
yeah, shout out.
I did want to anyone else there that, I mean, I know, dude, I hate asking about the sponsor thing, but I feel with you like I'm obligated to based on the last 12 months out of the year. If all these are up to date, Waterland, Fish Lake, Bucking Bass, Boat Logics, all those still with you?
Yep.
Nice. I did want to touch on the guiding before I let you go. Like I mentioned, I do a guide day show, and I don't know how it went down. It kind of came out. I saw it was like a thing where you were like, "Hey, I'm offering guide trips, even though I hate guiding," or something to that effect. Fair? Is that how I kind of came across? And people are like, "Why the hell? Like, why would you want to go out with this dude if he doesn't want to guide?" Talk me through that. And I know you're guiding. I know you offer a lot of guide trips. I know that's still like kind of a big part of who you are and what you do for income.
Yeah, no, that was misunderstood, I think, in a lot of ways. I don't hate guiding. I hate having to rely on guiding as my sole source of income outside of the Elite Series, if that makes sense. It takes 100%. Some of the fun out of it for me. It turns more into a job than
supplemental income.
Right. I enjoy getting to do it when I don't have to, when it's not my sole source of income, and it becomes a bit stressful then. So, yeah, that was taken out of context a little bit, and I guess that's on me for not explaining that a little better. I don't hate guiding. I hate having to rely on it to get me through the season.
How many days are you doing this year?
I'm doing a bunch this fall actually. I'm pretty wide open with anyone that wants to.
Like, what does that involve? Like, what's a day
Anyone
like?
that wants to-
I mean, is the best way to get in touch with you to just like slide into the DMs on Facebook or IG?
Yeah, you can. Best way is to shoot me just a message on Facebook or Instagram, or I've got a website. It's just jacobfoutzfishing.com. You can go there and see and look at my schedule, or shoot me a message if you can't find me on social media.
Look at that, a pro with a somewhat up to date website. That's the first.
I need to actually get in there and update it again. But
4-hour trips, 8-hour trips, live scope less. I mean, you kind of do kind of a pick and choose what you want to do.
yeah, so that's where I need to get in and updated. I've got different hour live scope lesson trips, and
Yep.
for the people who want to learn stuff about that instead of just go fishing.
I like it. Anything else before I let you go here? I said 30 minutes and we're like almost an hour in, Jacob.
Go Bucks, I guess. Big college football fan too, by the way.
Oh, you are? Really?
Yeah, hockey and football. I'm probably equally as passionate about.
Who's your team?
I'm an Ohio State fan, pal. Block O.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've been very intrigued. I did not realize how fun it would be. So, like, yeah, SEC moving, OU moving from the SEC to the Big 12. You had all those teams moving from the Pac-12 to the Big 10. I did not understand how much fun it would be because there's so many professional fishermen that are like have SEC teams as opposed to Big 12 teams. Not that there aren't fishing people in the Big 12, but you're talking Kansas, Iowa State, there's West Virginia, there's just a lot. Dude, SEC, phones blowing up every single week. Tennessee, Auburn, like all this stuff. Like, it's going to be so much fun with OU moving to the SEC. And then some of those matchups in the Big 10 are like, it's cool because you see it in a bowl game when everybody opts out, but seeing, Oregon and Washington and going up against the blue bloods. What are your thoughts on I love the realignment.
I do too. I love the 12-team playoff. I love the realignment. Like Ohio State plays Oregon this week. That's like the third or fourth time Ohio State's ever played Oregon in my life, and first time I've ever been out to Autzen Stadium. So that'll be cool to go out there and get to see that from the TV, and getting to go play Washington, and just the complete realignment and all these high power matchups you're going to see now is really cool. So yeah, it's awesome. I think that the 12-team playoff will be a good change, make it a little more competitive, and get to see more football.
You guys I got my Boomer Senior hat on. It's rivalry week. We got Texas in the Red River rivalry
Showdown
down in Dallas right there. Used to be called the Red River Shootout. We can't call it that anymore. So we call it the Red River rivalry right there at the Texas State Fair in Dallas. And I think we got a Manning starting at QB for Texas.
I think Quinn Ewers is back this week, actually. I think that.
Did they say? I thought he was.
I thought I just saw on SportsCenter he's expected to play. Maybe not. I don't know. I thought I just saw it.
No, here it is right here. I thought it just 1 hour ago. Yeah, here it is. CBS Sports reclaims the starting role. Oh, that's not good for us. I don't think anything's good for us. This is rivalry game. Anything can happen. Maybe we'll pull a Vandy.
Oh my gosh! How about Vandy pulling the upset?
Yeah, that was I was watching that. I was watching that game in Tokyo, Japan on Sunday morning. Live.
That's kind of crazy, actually. That's
Yeah.
actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, so Monday night football is like NFL is Tuesday morning football for them, and then all the games are on like the Saturday afternoon, Saturday night games are all Sunday morning games over in Japan.
That's crazy.
Oh, this is a good question from Jim. He said on Hockey Talk, Jacob, pick two guys on the elites that would be your right and left winger on your starting line.
Oh, easy. Chris and Corey Johnson. Easy.
Yeah,
They
well,
both play a lot.
They both played juniors,
like
I think.
Maybe Gussie. I don't know. Maybe Gussie. Maybe I have Gussie on the left wing. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you know Zaldane played AAA in San Jose growing up?
I did not know that.
Big hockey guy. We go to like a couple Dallas
Really?
Stars games every year. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Big hockey guy. He just laced him up
I
for
didn't know
men's
that.
league this past year. And then do you remember the name Darren Schwinkbeck?
Sounds familiar.
He's the guy who sank 3 boats in one day, only one of which was his on Lake Erie out of Buffalo.
Unreal.
Anyway,
That's actually crazy.
he played like in the Federal League, and he used to wear an Amsoil jersey complete with a tie-down strap. So like his Bass jersey was an authentic hockey jersey, had the laces right here, had the tie-down
That's
strap,
awesome.
had the Bass patch, and it was like red, white, and blue with the big Amsoil across the chest. I think
Yeah,
he's
that's
still
sick.
lurking around up north. Scalish ice fished with him last year, but yeah, that's a little bit of a hockey connection there too. So
Yeah, I didn't know Zaldane was into it.
yeah, big time. Yeah, big time hockey. Big time. There's a lot of guys who fish. Well, a lot of the northern guys, I feel like hockey guys love, like in the summertime, especially Canadians and stuff, love bass fishing. Obviously, we have like Deion Sanders and a number of sports guys down south, but like a lot of those hockey boys, you know, farm dudes from up there in Canada, play juniors all winter and go walleye and smallmouth bass fish in the summertime.
I know, like, you know who Dustin Bufflin is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I do. I have a Dustin
he's a
Bufflin
big time
story.
bass guy.
So he's buddies with Gussie, right? I've told this story once before.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
up there. And at the Knoxville Classic, like Gussie was going to win, so Bufflin was on like family vacation. I got this story from Mercer. I got the backstory. So he just like flies in, like no luggage, nothing. He just wants to be there for Gussie. So I'm at the bar for the Classic one night, talking with some industry guys, and they're like, I'm like, that looks like Dustin Bufflin, just hanging out. Like no one was really talking to him. And I walk up, and I kind of look at him, and I'm like, it's no way that's Dustin Bufflin. Like, why would he be in? I didn't know he was a big fishing guy at the time, buddies with Gussie. I said, why the hell would he be in like Knoxville right now at the shortened t-shirt? So I just said, you know, you look like Dustin Bufflin, but I know you're not. And he goes, I am Dustin Bufflin. And I said, I don't think so. and walked away. And then I found out later it was Dustin Bufflin. He even said something to Mercer. He's like, the hell, like this fishing dude came up to me and told me I wasn't me. I owe him an apology.
That's really funny.
Yeah. But all right, dude, I'm gonna let you go. That was a great interview, and I wish you luck in the off season. Have a good time up in the Dakotas, and maybe it's the Penn's year. I think they've got maybe 1 or 2 more years. They're getting up there. Both of those guys are getting up there, Crosby and Malkin.
Yeah, I don't know if they can compete with Boston and Florida, and I don't know.
If Edmonton can get
it
together. If you remember that first time,
we got a bunch of.
Do you have a young team?
Top end's still old. Obviously, we're an older team, just with Crosby and Malkin being up there, but we got a lot of young kids this year, and then in the bottom 6. So hopefully they can find their way and provide some good pieces of offense in the bottom 6. That's something we've lacked a lot, is some bottom 6 scoring, and need some good goaltending this year. So I mean, they'll be a fringe playoff team either way. So
It's got to be the Oilers' year this year. I can't see
You
them
would
not
totally
winning
think
a
so.
cup in the next two. So like I go back, you remember Gretzky and that team, they got I think they got swept by the Islanders when the Islanders had that dynasty the first year they made it to the finals. And I know Edmonton came back and made it a series this past year, but they dang near got swept by Florida. I think it's like a repeat of that era, and it starts a dynasty there with Draisaitl and Hyman and McDavid and I think they got there. You've seen some of that behind the scenes stuff of McDavid in the locker room during the finals going, "It's not good enough. It's not good enough." And then they close the door. Like, I think they come back this year. They know what it takes to get there. I think they're forced to be reckoned with. Nick keeps mentioning the Leafs. Leafs. I don't know if the Leafs are in it. They're fun to watch. Like, I watch the Leafs games. Like, I love it. But dude, that's like As the World Turns soap opera up there in Toronto on a daily basis.
It's the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL is what it is. Every year they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then every year they're beating the first round of the playoffs. Same old, same old.
Dude, they've had some epic collapses in the playoffs. Look at, we got all sorts of fans here. Go Avs. Now, I got to watch last year. I did get to watch Nathan McKinnon play twice. Dude, if you ever get a chance, like if you're going back, like if Pittsburgh's playing Colorado, Nathan McKinnon is crazy to watch in live. He is bigger, he is faster, he is stronger than everyone else. His neutral zone transition is like 2 strides, boom. He's a beast to watch in person. He stands way out from anyone else.
Yeah, I'm going to try to go to the Pittsburgh Edmonton game this year in Pittsburgh. I'd really like to see McDavid play.
Yeah. Devin,
while he's in his prime.
He's a Boston fan. Boston's always around.
Yeah.
They took a tough one in the opener, but Nick, he's a Wild fan.
Out.
I had no idea. No idea all these BTL listeners were hockey. I don't talk about hockey. I played for 21 years. That's how I ended up in Oklahoma. So he says the Coyotes are going to win it all. Who's going to break the news to Justin?
Hockey Club.
Who's going to break the news to Justin?
The Coyotes are no more.
I did watch that Utah game. They're they're working on like a new arena, but like there's like 5,000 fans in that stadium that can't see either the offensive or the
I read about that.
On that.
That's kind of crazy. Actually,
Richard
that game was way past my Sharks, Vegas.
He claims the entire West Coast. He's got Sharks, Vegas, and Kings. Oh, a little I think that's an ECHL reference with the Swamp Rabbits.
I think it is. I used to go to a lot of Wheeling Nailers games.
Oh, nice.
Actually.
They were one of the most attended minor league franchises. Weren't they?
Yeah, we were only like an hour from Wheeling growing up. So,
yeah, ECHL nailed that one. We could do a whole podcast just on hockey. We could do Fishing Guys talk about hockey. There's a Cup champ, Nathan. Chris with the Red Wings. Maybe they'll get it back together. That when I was growing up, the Red Wings were unbeatable. They brought all the Russians in, and you had Stevie Yzerman there and Sergei Fedorov. Nick Lidstrom back on defense. Oh yeah, Pavel Datsyuk. That was just an unbeatable team. Like, you'd go into Blues. I'm a Blues fan. I grew up a Blues fan, and the Red Wings would always just crush my soul growing up.
Yeah, they crushed my soul in 08.
Yeah. Dude,
got revenge in 09 though.
That was good. Chris Osgood. Then they had Mike Vernon for a couple years there. Remember Osgood with the cat eye?
Yep.
So I don't think the BTL hockey jersey would sell very well, but I could work on it. I've made it 15 years without a jersey, so we'll see it. I have a contract that's like, we need a jersey. So, all right, Jacob, have fun up in. Oh yeah, Nick Chelios. He ended the run there. He's a big Blackhawks guy, but ended the run there. And, all right, I'll let you go, man.
All right, buddy.
Thanks. Nice chat.
Yep. See you, dude.
See ya. All right, that is the one and only Jacob Foutz. That's called a ice hockey rabbit hole. We'll take our final break of the show. When we come back, talk about what we got going on the rest of the week. BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be back right after this.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, the truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9-9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top on Strike King.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFTCO. Any fish, any water.
Hey guys, Brian Schmidt here with Spro. I'm going to talk to you about the confidence I have in the equipment I use. You know, I have a charter boat business back home in Maryland. We fish for saltwater fish, and I also fish the Bassmasters Elite Series. So I keep my lights on by fishing. I have to have a lot of confidence in the equipment I use. Spro has me covered from head to toe, saltwater, freshwater, everything in between. A lot of high-end quality product. Spro has you covered.
In 2023, we became a household name in the crappie fishing world thanks to Power Breaks, the game changer. Hey, bass fishing world, buckle up, because you're next. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the next evolution of our product line, Power Breaks Sidekick, designed to install right on your shallow water acres. We are the first and only fishing brake company to offer a breakaway system. Just like with the Game Changer, the Power Brake Sidekick has it as well. And it's not a matter of if you're going to need it, it's when. Power Brakes, the most durable fishing brakes available on the market today. Made right here in the USA with our rock-solid 2-year warranty. Hey, not all fishing brakes are built equally, and you owe it to yourself to find out why ours are different. Power Brake Sidekick. Order yours today at mypowerbrakes.com. You'll be glad you did.
Omnia Pro gives you the confidence to eliminate dead water on thousands of lakes across the U.S. Exclusively through Omnia, utilize our map layers containing critical real-time satellite information to see water temperature, water clarity, and important weather data all in one place, along with 1-foot contours for Navionics and detailed CMAP social mapping. Matched with Omnia's industry-leading loyalty credit program on all your tackle and gear needs, this is the only app you need in your arsenal for success on the water.
We're back. Bass Talk Live. Good time with Jacob Foutz. I'm patting myself on the back for making that call and giving him a shout. It's kind of hard to get a hold of some of the guys. There's like guys in China, guys in Japan, guys on hunting trips, guys on fishing trips, guys in Italy, guys in South Africa. This was the international off season if you follow professional fishing. So the fact that I was able to get Jacob on to talk about one heck of a year. Frank is live tomorrow, day 4, with the man Frank Scalish. We have new colors. We have announcements. We have a good show planned for tomorrow for day 4. And then next week is the U.S. Open. We'll probably try to get a report from the U.S. Open, but I can say on the 15th, which is a Tuesday, another young angler who was on the verge, I mean literally the verge of being kicked out of the Elite Series, Alex Redwine. If you follow his journey, we had him on like right after qualified. And he talked about, I think he's another Ohio dude. Was working at like a car dealership, I believe. I think I'm getting this story right. And kind of struggled on the Elite Series. Dude went into the final event of the season in really good shape to make the Classic, and then came in with like 11 pounds on the first day at the St. Lawrence River, ended up hanging on in 40th spot, made the Classic in Texas. Feel good story there. And then next week also we'll have all of the analysis and breakdown of the 9 new anglers who will be joining the Elite Series field. I'm headed to make the 2.5-hour drive back to Grand. I gotta see if I can find just a couple more things that might play. Like if I do it 3 days, I find 3 or 4 things each day. That's a dozen things. Could mean a big fish in November. All right, this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. Same place, same time. Tomorrow with Frank Scalish. See ya.